Ladies and gentlemen, Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is slightly down here, about 0.2% on the S&P. I think it was down quite a bit more at open this morning, but it looks like market retraced back up today, which we'll be talking about on this presentation. Nasdaq is green today, 0.1%. Their semiconductors up almost 2% today. Dow, small caps, and the banks are down about a 0.5%. Banks or energy sector continues to tumble here last couple of days, 2.5% negative. Transport's down a little bit, 0.5%. Biotech down about 1%. Emerging market down a little bit here. Grayscale, Bitcoin continues to tumble, down about 0.5% today. Gold flat. Silver and miners, however, they're down about 1.5% today. Oil's down about $3, up about 0.5%. Treasury bonds down a little bit. VIX popped a little bit there. Let's stick with the S&P. Spider 65-minute chart here. So there's a couple things we talked about on the last night's analysis. And one thing we talked about, what the bears needed to do was to gap it down, create an island top reversal to make things hectic for the buyers. However, there was this gap here, so you can see we did see that gap down, and that's a quite of a gap down there. Let's see, this was at about 1% gap down or so, 1.2% gap down at open. That's gonna make a lot of bears super excited in the morning. But then again, there was that gap that was open here. You see this gap here? That gap open when this thing came down. We filled that gap. Once that gap got filled, it provided the support the buyers needed, not to mention my midterm moving average. We talked about a lot about my midterm moving average over the weekend video and all throughout last week, that it does have impressive resume. So this is definitely important level that, there's a gap area coinciding with the midterm moving average. You see that little lower wick here, a couple hours or so, some dip buying activities occurred. And then we got up here and filled the entirety of the down gap, except the fact that there was the island top reversal. Keep in mind, you see this was a gap up here. So you see this gap remained open yesterday. So that island top portion of the gap, which I colored it purple, was open, until you can see the 4th hour and 5th hour were stalling right underneath that. It was no coincidence or random occurrence or mistake that we were, buyers pushed up, filling the majority of this gap every hour. And then once it got to that island top reversal gap, again, that means this was gap up and then this was gap down. That's island reversal gap, right? Because it's open both sides. So you can see on the 4th hour and the 5th hour, buyers are like, okay, this is a little bit stronger gap, and then retreated a little bit, but then we held here. It looks like this might have been some sort of a micro-term pivot that it used. And then you can see on the 5th hour and 6th hour, we held. Bulls pushed that one more time. And you can see now that island gap, however, was not fully filled. Only half of it filled. But keep in mind though, the gap was from here to here. So how about 80%, maybe even 85% of this gap was filled from the buyers today? That's a good work. However, this island top reversal gap didn't get filled. And with that, I still have to say that we still do have that island reversal top is present. It's not as strong. If it was a lot more stronger this morning, if we would have seen the majority of that portion of that gap from this morning, if that was open, that would have had a pretty strong presence. But that 80% of that, majority of that gap was filled. And then the island reversal that is currently open, though half of that. So here's what bears need to do. Keep in mind, you can see both of my short-term moving averages are declining. You can see it was resistance here, and then briefly it was support, and then we lost it again. So with these short-term moving average declining, and with the island top reversal still in place, the gap has not been filled as of today. Things can change tomorrow, and that's what the buyers want to do. Buyers' first objective tomorrow will be filling this gap quickly as possible, because you know how buyers, they did not they were dostling around here back in the 14th, not filling this gap. We talked about if this gap doesn't get filled, things gonna be hectic, and we did get some hecticness here. And so this time around, buyers must fill this gap, not play around. Otherwise, bears are gonna try to push it down, because we already got 2 down gaps still open. These short-term moving average still down. So I would have to say, in the short term, with today's market sentiment, I'm going to give it neutral, because that's kind of what we've been seeing here in the short term. A lot of up and downs, right? So I'm going to put this as kind of a neutral zone, maybe slight bearish until this gap gets filled, right? Even if this gap gets filled, if the price still below this moving average, I would have to still classify this market in the short term neutral, right? If bears take out this midterm moving average, or if we start to kind of come down here, make another lower high, I think it's more bearish at the time. Obviously, in the micro term, we are bearish. We were bearish yesterday in the micro term. So, and midterm bullish, right? Midterm bullish, short term neutral ground with a slight bearishness until this gap gets filled. Micro term bearish. So really, overall, this week and then late last week, we pretty much been chopping around, right? So what the buyers need to do, go up and fill this gap. But best case scenario for the buyers now, and if that's the ultimate goal, the buyers try to do by not filling this gap would be if we can see a gap up. But you know what though? My short-term moving average is just in this vicinity. So I think if it's a little gap, I don't think there isn't going to be a whole lot of effect, even though that still could qualify as an island bottom reversal. So about 0.3, 0.4%. There's a short-term moving average in that vicinity. So if you really want to make a statement, bulls really want to make smooth transition back up to 418, 420, we probably going to need about 0.7% gap up, because we want to gap up above these moving averages also. That's going to be served as resistance, right? So it's going to be a big gap up, little gap up just over it. It's probably not going to cut it at this point just because of these. Unless gaps up and you see a big bullish thrust to the upside. So as of today, a little bit still hectic situation for the buyers. So check out the oscillator and see if we can get any more information. So officially, we did see the cross here, right? So first thing I note is that bears were not able to bring it all the way back down. We actually seeing the premature cross. We're not coming all the way back to the oversold level. We kind of stopped here. We crossed here, and we need a follow through, right? We've seen some of these crosses, maybe something like this, and kind of whipsaw around a couple times. They could kind of whipsaw back down, right? That's also the possibility. So this cross alone isn't gonna be enough. And what this cross is telling us, definitely we found support on that gap area, midterm moving average, and we did see all throughout the day rally. That's what this cross is affirming. However, just in case some sort of whipsawing action, my buyers really need to get above 414 and close above 414 tomorrow. But if we see something like that, you're gonna see this oscillator advancing and giving you that kind of a full, kind of affirmation that now that short-term trend has been shifted and getting ready to hit this gap to fill it and ready to go back to the all-time high level. So tomorrow will be important how this market behave in this vicinity. I'll come back for you. Enjoy your evening and good luck trading tomorrow.